Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
He says COVID is no different than the flu. President Trump sparks a firestorm with a single tweet. It's got the medical community fuming and even has Facebook and Twitter hitting the delete button on his posts. Mara.
Devin, we're live downtown tonight, and we've got new numbers on the hottest political race in the state of Michigan. And we asked, what do you think of Governor Whitmer? New numbers straight ahead.
Clearing the confusion with Governor Whitmer's emergency orders struck down by the state Supreme Court. Where do we really stand when it comes to having to wear masks?
But we'll begin with three stories that have been breaking this afternoon right off the top. First, DPSCD has reached a deal on a new contract with the Detroit Federation of Teachers. The biggest takeaway from this one-year deal, starting teacher salaries now $51,000, and that's the highest in Michigan.
Also, all hourly DFT members will make at least $15 an hour. According to DPSCD, the average teacher salary has increased by more than $13,000 since 2017. Also breaking right now, Eddie Van Halen, one of the most legendary guitar players of all time, has died. News was confirmed in a post by his son just a few hours ago. The lead guitarist for the band bearing his name has been battling throat cancer for years. He, of course, inspired legions of modern guitarists. Eddie Van Halen was just 65 years old. Yeah. Also breaking right now, President Trump says he has cut off negotiations with Congress over a second stimulus bill until after the election. In a string of tweets late this afternoon, the president slammed House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, saying she is not negotiating in good faith. In response, the stock markets took a major slide after the announcement, with the Dow taking a 300-point hit. Also, President Trump is being closely monitored at the White House as he continues to recover from coronavirus. He is not, though, staying quiet while he recovers, unleashing a string of tweets comparing COVID to the flu. Alice Barr following that part of the story from Washington. Alice.
Devin and Kimberly, with the election now exactly 4 weeks from today, President Trump is in isolation, but seeking to show he's not cut off, in command of his health and the nation.
President Trump back in the White House, still battling coronavirus and the very real concerns about how vulnerable he may still be. His doctor saying he's doing well today after 3 nights in the hospital and reporting no symptoms. But his escalating downplaying of the illness is drawing more scrutiny. Today, in a tweet flagged as misleading, the president comparing the virus to the flu, which he falsely claimed kills 100,000 people in some years, and saying we have to learn to live with COVID. Top health official Dr. Anthony Fauci drawing a sharp distinction between COVID-19, which has killed 1 million people worldwide, and the common flu.
It has some overlapping symptomatology early on, but flu doesn't do the things to you that COVID-19 can.
With more than a dozen cases now reported within the White House, concern extending to the Pentagon, where the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and other top brass are going into quarantine after being exposed. That caution at odds with their commander-in-chief and his highly choreographed return to the White House, where the president peeled off his mask before going inside to meet waiting staffers and tape a message designed to project strength.
Don't let it dominate. Don't let it take over your lives.
Medical experts say President Trump is still within a 10-day window that will determine the severity of his illness.
We hope that he gets through the rest of this without a worsening of his symptoms, but he's nowhere near out of the woods.
Nevertheless, the president tweeting he's feeling great and looking forward to debating Joe Biden next week in Miami.
As the debate commission considers how to move forward with the next 2 presidential debates, a source familiar with the discussions tells NBC News one option is to hold them outside. In Washington, Alice Barr, Local 4.
All right, Alice. Now, this tweet from the president comparing COVID to the flu has drawn heavy criticism from the medical community.
Let's bring in Dr. Frank McGeorge for a closer look at the comparison, which is not to downplay the seriousness of the flu either.
No, not at all. You know, I completely understand the instinct to compare COVID to influenza. Whenever we're faced with anything new and uncertain like COVID, there is a natural tendency to comfort ourselves by comparisons to something that we are familiar with. And it is true that many of the hallmark symptoms are the same: fever, cough, body aches. But after that, comparisons break down. Let's simply start with the president's estimate that the flu kills sometimes over 100,000. In the past 10 years, the highest influenza death toll was estimated at 61,000 in the 2017 to 2018 season to as low as 12,000 in the 2011 to 2012 season. Even using the president's 100,000, COVID has already killed twice as many Americans in 9 months, and it's still killing. Now, when it comes to spread, COVID is far more transmissible. Broadly speaking, without precautions, one person with the flu infects between 1.3 to 1.7 other people. Without precautions, one person with COVID will infect 2 to 3 other people. Now, beyond the similarities in initial symptoms of fever, cough, and body aches, COVID has demonstrated an ability that the flu does not have: multiple organ involvement. Severe COVID produces an extraordinary and deadly inflammatory process, abnormal blood clotting, and damage to multiple organs, particularly the heart. Even if someone survives, there is growing evidence of longer-term consequences in many. Now finally, the simplest difference between flu and COVID is that we have a vaccine and well-established treatments for influenza. COVID-19 has neither. Now, I'm really happy the president seems to be improving, but the fact is, many other people his age have not been so fortunate. COVID is simply not influenza. The mortality rate for the flu in people over 65 is between 0.1 and 0.2%. The case fatality rate for COVID in people aged 70 to 79 in Michigan, it's 18%. I've taken care of some of those people, and suggesting that it's just like the flu to them is an insult to the memory of those who have already died.
Yeah. So, Dr. McGeorge, tell us what you're working on for Wellness Wednesday. That's tomorrow at 6:30.
Yeah, I'll be taking a closer look at one of the red flags for COVID-19. That's the loss of smell and taste. We're learning that this symptom may be more important than doctors first realized, and that you need to act right away if you develop it. And that'll be again tomorrow at 6:30 a.m.
On the morning show. That's right. Okay, Dr. McGeorge, appreciate it.
Now to today's coronavirus case numbers here in Michigan. The state reporting 903 new cases of COVID-19 over the past 24 hours. Along with that, 22 more Michiganders have died from the virus, including 7 from a review of past vital records. Now, the state Supreme Court's ruling on Friday striking down Governor Whitmer's emergency orders has caused a lot of confusion, especially when it comes to the state's mask mandate.
Adding to it, yesterday's order reinstating it from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has done little to clear it up. Rod Maloney joins us live tonight to help sort through and kind of make sense of what's going on. And Rod, it's not easy.
Well, Kimberly, let's get some specifics in here because I think a lot of people might not have known this. The Supreme Court voted 4-3 overturning the Emergency Powers Act of 1945, but it voted 7-0 to overturn her emergency orders since May 1st. Now, what does the governor want to do? She'd like to keep her mask and the gathering number caps in place. And so what she did was she turned to Robert Gordon, her Department of Health and Human Services director, to use another law to do just that. And that's what he did.
We are all exhausted by the virus. Unfortunately, the virus is not tired of us and it is not done with us. And in fact, cases are increasing in Michigan right now.
The governor and Gordon both believe masks are the best defense against COVID, so they've looked to a law drawn up after the Spanish flu a century ago, allowing the health department director to create his or her own orders surrounding gatherings.
And in fact, it's a more specific authority that governs a circumstance just like this. The law was written by people who had lived through an awful pandemic and wanted to make sure that the government had the authority to deal with it.
And it all seems to make perfect sense on its face, but when it comes to court cases, things can get complicated, says Patrick Wright, the legal director of the Mackinac Policy Center.
You can be safe and follow the Constitution. They're not mutually exclusive.
The Mackinac Center has 2 cases pending against the governor and the health department director, having won both. Wright believes the governor is just trying to extend an order that's been ruled unconstitutional when it never came up in the nearly 4 hours of oral arguments before the Supreme Court.
I can stop people because of. And when you don't make that, you lose the case, and then you come back and say, oh, well, I should have argued this, and I'm going to try this new method. It makes it look like you're not respecting the court.
Now, what Wright is saying there is that if you don't plead it, then legally you lose the right to use that. You forfeit the right to use this other statute. That's what he believes the court is going to say. Of course, the governor and Gordon disagree with that. You can expect a legal proceeding to go forward in the days ahead. Back to you.
So much to sort out. Okay, Rod, we appreciate it.
Let's get back now to the new results in our exclusive WDIV Detroit News poll. Tonight, looking at 2 big issues here in our state. Governor Whitmer's favorability rating amid the battle over her emergency orders. But first, a big one, the heated race for U.S. Senate. And it is very tight right now between John James and the incumbent Gary Peters. We bring in Mara McDonald to break down these numbers. Mara, Peters ahead, but not by a lot.
Well, Devin, that's right. And, you know, this race for the most part has been within the margin of error. This is the first time we've seen a poll move it just above the margin of error. Let me show you. Gary Peters is a longtime Michigan politico, but only a first-term senator, which means he's vulnerable. Our exclusive WDIV Detroit News poll numbers were done after the first presidential debate, but before the president contracted COVID. And it now has Peters 5 points up over James, just a hair above the margin of error.
You know, there's still a good chunk of undecided voters left in this Senate race. But for John James, he's got to figure out how to get over what are the Donald Trump ceiling in Michigan right now. He's got to differentiate himself to appeal to these undecided voters. Gary Peters hasn't won them yet. They still break disproportionately to the Democrats.
Our pollster believes in the end it will be Donald Trump's numbers that decide this Senate race.
I think this race ends up looking like the president, gets swept in by the presidential numbers. Whatever patterns are at the top of the ticket are going to carry through in this Senate race unless John James can find a way to break that pattern.
In addition to the Senate race, we also polled on the governor's favorability. Now, to be clear, that's not her job performance, just whether you have a favorable opinion of her. And she just clears that 50% benchmark. Back here live, back to that Peters-James race. That really is the one to watch right now and something to think about. Peters, when he won his Senate seat, won it in 2014 against a challenger who ran by any measure an incredibly poor campaign. That is not the case this time around. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
Certainly wasn't a race where we're going to see this kind of turnout. All right, Mara, much more ahead. Let's check in with Ben.
Yeah, just a little bit breezy here, guys. You saw that from some of the live shots, but the winds howling down to the south as Delta is now a Category 4 hurricane. More on that next.
The November election quickly approaching, a record number of Michiganders expected to vote, and now a change in the election law here in our state. What you need to know coming up in my Help Me Hank report.
A hero cop in Macomb County saves the life of a man who's trying to commit suicide.
Where is he? Where is he?
As horrified family members watched, this officer jumped into action. We'll have their story tonight.